Green Dolphin Street. We're going to look at stuff you can do with your left hand, while you're comping for your solo or whatever. I'm going to start with some pretty basic stuff, and then I'm going to go into some rootless voicings. So anyway, I'm just going to do like a survey of things that you can do with your left hand. Got your left hand playing the E flat major chord. All right, then an E flat minor chord. And then we've got an F triad, still keeping the kind of the pedal point there. That's the E flat. Makes it an F7, and then we've got E, and that makes it E major 7. But a lot of times we'll play that as an E dominant 7, because E dominant 7 is the tritone of B flat, which takes us back to the home key of E flat. All right, so briefly, here it is. There's an E flat 6 instead. And then we got that. Then F7. All right, so that's the A section. Next comes the B section. All right, that's the melody. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to do F minor, B flat, and E flat. That's the easiest way to do it. All right, now you can also, for the B flat chord, go with this, because that is the flat 9. See, there's the root, and just move it up 1/2 a step, and then you have the flat 9, B flat 7 with a flat 9. And the diminished scale works the best over this, because if you look at that chord, it looks like a diminished chord. And it is a diminished chord, but we're using it more as a dominant 7th chord, and then to E flat. Okay, then we can do the same thing on our next 2-5-1, which is in G flat, a lovely key. Here's our 2 chord. You see, you just move the top 2 notes down like that, you get the diminished chord, and that's our D flat 7th, and then you got G flat. All right, so here it goes again, the B section. All right, use some diminished scale there, and I'm going to use the exact same diminished scale on this one. Okay, because if you think about it, a D flat, I use this for a B flat 7th, and it's really the same chord, right? Same diminished chord, so I can use the same diminished scale. That makes sense. Okay, all right, moving right along. Now on the then it goes back to the A section again. So here we go. All right, that time I just went F7, E7, and E flat major 7th. All right. Now we get to the last section, and I'm not going to cover this one quite as much, because it's complicated and it's going to take way too much time. Though, hey, we've got time. So here we go. Starts off the same way, F minor. Then goes down to D minor 7 flat 5. And here, I can just move that note and get my G7 chord, which has a flat 9, on to C minor. Then I'm going to come up here and do A minor 7 flat 5. And once again, I could move them both like that, or I could just move the top one. That gets me to G minor, and that's the beginning of a 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. All right, minor chord, dominant chord, minor chord, dominant chord. G, C7, F minor 7, B flat dominant 7, E flat major 7th. Okay, now let's look at some other things you can do with the left hand. There's the locked hand style that goes like this, where you play a 6 chord, a diminished, a 6, a diminished, a 6, as you move up the scale. So you could do something like that with your left hand. You can do it on the major chord. You can do it on the minor chord. And then we've got our F7. Okay. Now let's go to our B section. That's the 2-5-1 in E flat first. And instead of playing it in root position, I'm going to take it up to the rootless version here. All right, I used the same 3 notes here, and then took the root up here, moved it up here, and then made it to a 9. And look, it looks like A flat major 7th, but it's F minor 7th without the root. Now, there's 3 good ways, more than 3, but there's 3 pretty typical ways of doing a 2-5-1 starting here as your 2 chord. The first one is just to move this 1 note right here, and you have a B flat 7th chord with a 9 and a 13. Here's your 7th, your 3rd, your 9, and your 13. Okay, I've called these box voicings a million times. This is just rootless voicings that can function as not only as that B flat 7th chord, but it can function a lot of other ways as well. So when I'm improvising over that, I can use, the E flat major scale. That's Dorian mode on F there. And then I really can just stay with the same scale here. But if I want to put a little tension in, it would be the flat 5 like that, because it kind of fits in with the chord. And there's my E flat chord. I did the same thing here. I took the chord, kept those 3 notes, and instead of just moving the root up here, made it the 9th. And it looks like a G minor 7th, but it is E flat major 7th. So here's the first way of getting through with rootless voicings. All right, here's another way. And you move this one down and also this one down by a half step. Okay, now this is a lot like that diminished chord, and it's got like the whole tone extension there. So yeah, it's a diminished scale that's going to fit this the best. See? Okay, we do the exact same thing up here. And notice I'm using the same diminished scale again. Here's I'm in G flat here, that's my 2 chord. And then here's my dominant chord. Right? And one cool thing about this particular kind of shape is that you can move it all around in minor thirds. Just like a diminished chord is built on minor thirds, you can take that chord, move it down a minor third, move it down another minor third if you want, and they're all going to function as the same dominant 7th chord. So like here's B flat dominant 7th, that's B flat dominant 7th, that's B flat dominant 7th, same thing, and they also function as the D flat chord too. All right, and watch, I can from this one down to this one, and then into G flat. Okay. Third way, altered chord. All right, now to get that one, you move these 2 down half a step, and this one up half a step, okay? And that gives you B flat altered. The scale, well, we need a B flat altered scale, but just think B and do the minor melodic ascending. All right, this is why you study scales, because you need them. No, so just start on B flat, think the same way. Let's do a few lines using that. So start here with our E flat major scale on the F minor chord. Then, all right. Using these particular notes, these are like the hippest notes of the altered scale anyway. So if you're unsure about the other notes, just use the same notes you're using in your chord. See, works pretty well. See, these two go down, this one goes up. Top two go down. You know, you're starting on A flat minor, and you move these two down, and this one up, and you get D flat altered. It's also tritone away. It's G7 G7 was unaltered, but we're thinking of it as a D flat chord. And our scale, just go up a half step to minor melodic ascending. Oh, look, it's an easy one. See? There you go. We're back to our A section again. And, you know, let's see if we covered this. Yeah, we go up like that. Then we do E flat minor like that. And let's do F7 this time like this, okay? That's an F7. I call that a box voicing. It's box 2, just because it's that shape. See that shape, no matter where you play it, that's considered box 2. It's got a third, a seventh, and a ninth, and a 13. All right, and then we'll just go down a half step, and that'll be our E7. All right, so we start in E flat, E flat minor, F7, E7, and then we end up on E flat again. Now, F7. We can do a little reharmonization here. We could add the 2 chord that comes before that. That would be a C minor. So you can do it this way: C minor to F7. Very easy. Just move one note, and then B minor to E7, like that. So check this out. See? Of course, you know, I know my scales pretty well, so I can make those lines sound good. But and you can too. All you have to do is just, you know, play these chords, go very slowly, find the right notes. You know, just one scale there. What am I using? I don't know. F mixolydian. I guess that's a B flat scale. Right, because this is a 2-5-1. In B flat, though we're not going to B flat. All right, so I'm using a B flat scale. Then I'll use the A scale and end up back on E flat. And, you know, there's some altered scales and, you know, fancier scales you could use in there as well. Okay, let's look at some other stuff here that we could do. Let's go to our B section again. All right, now I got a root position chord. I can go up here and down there. All right, that gives me one of those. Now this is box 3, but we used it here a minute ago, like that. Down a minor third is like that. So that can actually work as a B flat chord. F. See, we've got that little diminished part there. That was like this before. Now it's like that. All right, so. Just move this one up and that one down. And same diminished scale we used before. All right, now check this out, because, you know, what's nice to do is to have your left hand be somewhat interesting. So if you started here and then went here, now E flat here, then you could do like an E flat 7th altered, getting up to that A flat minor. And here's the A flat minor. We'll do that same thing again. This one up, that one down, and then up to G flat major. And see that the top note just moved chromatically up there. So it's very, you know, it sounds good. Here it is with the bass notes. What was it? Oh, yeah. And here it is with an Improv. Oh, I went the wrong way. Let me do it again. Yeah, once you've kind of learned your theory and you know your chords and you know your scales and you're reasonably proficient and you want to keep studying jazz piano, what do? A really good thing to do is just to go back and study individual piano players and their styles that they had. We're going to take McCoy Tyner here, and McCoy is known for, hitting these big pedal points with roots and fifths, and then playing lots of fourth voicings up here, like that. And so let's take that approach. So we're going to play E flat major seventh like this. Not major seventh, it's a 3-6-9. It's a 6-9 chord, but that's as good as a major seventh. And we could actually do it here, or we could play it like that. In fact, if you just think of the E flat major scale and build fourths using that scale, now some of them will come out to be altered fourths like this, but a lot of them will just be fourths like this. All these will work for E flat major. Right? Just that's planing the chords. Chord planing, I think, is what they call that. And let's use mostly the fourths. So we use these two right here. Then for the minor, we can kind of do the same thing. You think about Dorian mode. All right, that's like the D flat major scale. So you just follow that scale. What is it? Yeah, I like that one. And use some of those. Then for F, you could do this. And for E, you could do this. And for E flat, you could do that. See, F, pretty easy, so. All right, now on the F chord, I just use the F major scale. I like to put that little thing in there. E, same thing, and E flat. And, of course, lots of pentatonic scales will work over this kind of thing. But you can use, your regular scales in there, too, major and minor scales, and even the altered scale. Because, for instance, when we had F and then we went down to E, that's like a B. It's like B flat altered. We just leave out that note, and we get that fourth. So we could play the altered scale there. That's a B minor melodic ascending. All right, so right after the F chord, and 2-5-1s can be handled this way too. F minor, B flat altered, and I'm just really thinking E there, E pentatonic scale, and then E flat. I'll maybe put a B flat pentatonic scale. Then we can do the same thing in A flat. Like a flat there, and then D flat here, right? Because it's a lot like that. All right. Another thing too, now just to talk about McCoy's style a little bit, his playing goes a lot deeper than just using fourths and pentatonic scales. He really, if you listen to him throughout the years, you realize that. He has a lot of things he can draw upon for the way he plays. However, one thing that is kind of common is that you take these fourth chords like this, keep the top note the same, and move the bottom around like this. So maybe on the E flat major you could go like this, and then on E flat minor like that, and then on the F7 and the E like that. So that gives it a very iconic sound to do that kind of thing. Another thing you can do is take a stack of fourths. Let's use E flat minor. So take a stack of fourths. Find another stack of fourths in that same scale. And so we'll say we're a fifth apart here. And then move those around on the scale like that. Or pick a different interval like this. So now I'm only a third apart with my two hands. All right. Some keys this is very easy in, like D minor, you know. But every other key will involve knowing the scale pretty well so that you can get the white keys and the black keys in the right place. Let's see, anything else? I think that's all I can think of for right now. This is like my 18th time doing this video, so I hope it inspires you and leads you down some new paths in your improvisation. And until next time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you soon.